I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I don't have much for Time Paradox, the what sixth Artemis Fowl book, but that's because by this point I just get through these fucking books, yo. I don't have very much for Time Paradox. This show is also
I,
confusing.
I'm surprised he is still going at the time with the same story.
Oh, he's still going. He's talking about Artemis's little brothers now. He's still going.
Um,
Mr. Colfair. Yeah. You didn't know that? It's called The Fowl Twins. I have a copy of the first book because I want to see if he's an ain't shit writer.
well, I know that the Fowl Twins is a thing. I didn't know like that's going to be like a thing now.
It's a
He's
series.
pl- he's planning more. Oh,
I don't know how many books there are going to be. I don't know if there's going to be seven like there are with Artemis. But you have to admit, his brother, their older brother, is dealing with the Fae, and also he just showed up randomly when they turned 3. So I feel like they were going to find out eventually.
yeah, at some point.
The fact that Artemis doesn't end up with Holly makes my 12-year-old heart really sad. So I originally read this book when I was 12. It makes my 12-year-old heart really sad.
People can write it well. There's such a thing called fan fiction.
Yeah, there's some fan fiction that should be novels, not 50 Shades of Grey. But anyway, um, I felt like this book was the beginning of the end, honestly. It's like, what are the other ones called? What's the one before this? Lost Colony. I still like Lost Colony. Lost Colony had a coherent plot to me. I like Lost Colony. Um, for the uninitiated, so, Fowl Manor, where they live, is now the site of legal endeavors, because if you remember correctly from the other books, Artemis and his dad were into some illegal shit. Their mom hated it, but he was into some illegal shit, so that was fun. Um, Artemis was gone for 3 years, and now he's back, and he's got 2 little twin brothers. Which honestly, I didn't think about this before, but that's kind of a shitty thing to do, you know? Oh no, our son's gone and probably dead because we weren't really raising him. Let's have more children.
So, Artie, while you were out, uh,
That's kind of a shitty thing to do. I still feel bad for Butler.
oh man,
He didn't
he
ask. He didn't ask for none of
this
this
was
shit.
not this was not the job that he signed up for, admittedly, despite the fact that the butlers have been protecting the fowls for time.
The butlers have been protecting the fowls from illegal shit. They have not been protecting the fowls from phase shit.
Well, I mean, that's why I say for time, because now Butler's gone back and forth and healed and Kevlar chest and
That's a thing that
yeah.
happened. In case you don't remember,
Having
uh,
having been through COVID, that's gotta suck.
in case you don't remember, Butler got killed, and then Artemis freaked out because Butler is kind of his only father figure. So he got Holly to come to him and heal him, but he was wearing a bulletproof vest. So the Kevlar bulletproof vest is now adhered to his skin.
Completely fused.
So, and hey, he's bulletproof.
Nothing to
So,
lose.
the twins are just as awkward as, no, just as smart as Artemis is. And Artemis is awkward trying to teach them things because he keeps trying to teach them things that are above their developmental level. It's cool if your kid is smart, but like, don't give them things above their developmental level because
All I remember is they're doing their thing and he's trying to teach them like proper businessman's French.
something like that. And it's just like, they're 3. Like, I get it. Maybe start with French, just the language first, instead of trying to teach them business French. They're 3.
Like
They can learn
they're not
languages.
they're three, but they're not you.
When Artemis was 3, I don't think he was learning business French. He might have known the words cocaine and heroin, but I don't think he was learning business French.
Ecstasy cocaine.
um, yeah. Mama Fowl, she dying. I believe her name is Angelina.
Yeah.
His dad wants Artemis to like contact his sketchy friends in order to save her life. So Artemis does that. Um, she knows that Artemis should be 17, even though he's not. He's, how old is he? What's 17 minus 3?
He's 14
Yeah.
mark because time travel rubbish.
Oh, he must have already been 15 because his birthday must not have passed yet in this book because he ages with each book.
Yeah, one can say that.
Yeah. But yeah. So he tries to use what little magic he has left to save her, but it fails and now there's no magic. He also probably gets her sicker. So Foley got married. Holly's doing work with the Krakens. So that's fun. A very old one is about to very explosively shed, and there are humans in danger, so Holly goes to save them. Artemis sends her mail and asks her to bring number 1. That's fun. Number 1 is a child, by the way, in case you don't remember what happened at the end of that book. I don't blame you for not remembering what happened at the end of that book, because I hardly understood what happened at the end of that book.
Something, warlocks, time travel, space travel.
Yeah.
He, apparently based on some of the art, he is adorable.
Yeah. Holly and Foley know the illness that Angelina's mom has, but they think it's been eradicated. It's called spelltrophy. There's no cure anymore because Artemis caused the extinction by selling the last known cure to a mad scientist. So that's fun.
Oh, the goddamn monkey.
Yeah. It is a lemur. So that's fun. Opal's name came up a worrying amount in this book, and then she showed up in it. So, his mom, the reason Artemis sold it is because when they were in the process of going bankrupt, before he thought of the idea to steal all the gold, his mom wanted to save the last one, but Artemis was 10 years old and a dickhead, so he sold it for money. Unfortunately, they have to help Artemis because an outbreak of that shit would be explosive. More explosive than the Kraken. He does manipulate them into helping because, old habits die hard. So they go back in time. And they find Mulch because of course they fucking do. I'm going to call the younger one Artemis Y for younger Artemis. So, Artemis Y somehow doesn't recognize Artemis O because I don't know about you, but if I look at pictures of my face from when I was a child, my face has not changed. I just look older. That's it. If you were to see a picture of me when I was a baby with no context, you would still know that it's me.
Although I feel like Artemis O was trying not to let Artemis Y know it was him. Because, time.
I know, but I've seen pictures of your face from when you were younger, babe. Even without the beard. I feel like you would still recognize yourself.
Yeah.
Your face hasn't changed that much. It's just longer. It's just longer. That's it. Like the rest of you. You're just taller. Attempt 1 to get the monkey is unsuccessful, but with LEP tech, they are able to get the lemur, but Artemis Y got Holly, so that's fun. Crazy doctor late dude tries to sell Holly. Artemis O dismantles that, and Opal is here now, because of course she fucking is. She got older Artemis, because she was using extinct animals to make weapons and needed the lemur, or whatever. They escape Opal and Artemis Y. Opal followed them. Artemis O also brought Artemis Y, and somehow this leads to a plan to save his mom and stop Opal, and now there are 2 Opals in the present, which I feel like we're not acknowledging. Because they somehow bring her back to the present, because they also bring Artemis Y to the present. I know that much. Are we going to talk about this? Because she also escapes. Are we going to talk about this? The answer is no. But, apparently when Artemis tried to cure his mom with the magic, if he hadn't done anything, nothing would have needed to be done anyway. Opal fuses herself with Angelina, that's his mom, so she can try and convince him to give over the lemur, but Artemis of course sees through it, and she remembers Opal's memories, so she wants to know everything. If she's annoying in the next book, I'm gonna be really angry. Opal escaped because of course she fucking did. And also hilariously, even though they wipe his memory, and it actually works this time, all of this time travel shenanigans is how Artemis Y got the idea for book 1. Which I guess explains a lot, because I feel like in that first book it was kind of skipped over how he learned about the Fae in the first place. I hate Opal.
I do too.
She's aggravating in the way that bratty children are aggravating. Not the fun type of brat, because they're children. When they're children, it's never the fun type of brat, because they suck. Someone needs to stab Opal, not Artemis. Someone needs to stab Artemis too, but someone really needs to stab Opal.
Yeah.
Again, 2 Opals. We're not gonna talk. Oh, we're not gonna talk about that. Okay, I guess we're not gonna talk about that. Young Artemis isn't nearly as annoying as he was in the first book, which is nice. Also, so, and maybe this is just me, but I feel like the Butlers are still gonna have a job for a while with the Fowl family, because you can't just, as evidenced by the fact that his dad got kidnapped, you can't just leave the crime world and have nothing happen to you. So I think the Butlers are still gonna be employed by the Fowl family for a while, because I've watched the Mob documentary or two. You don't just get to leave the crime world.
Oh no, the crime world is the one that leaves you in a body bag.
Usually, not if you have a butler with you, but usually. I feel bad for him so much. He just... Oh, in case you didn't realize, Butler is not his first name. His first name, I believe, is Dolohov.
No, it's Domovoy.
Oh, that's his first name. Which is ironic, which is hysterical to me, because his sister's name is Juliet. Like, you give him this Eastern European-ass name, and you gave her a French name.
That's... Family naming conventions are...
Yeah, Juliet is somewhere. I remember her being more involved in the series than this, more than just in, like, what was that, like, book 3 or 2? I don't remember. She's somewhere doing something. It feels unnecessarily complicated at this point. Like, like book 1 and 2 were child Sherlock. Book 3 and 4 were okay. Opal's deception is aggravating, and I like Lost Colony. This is just... I don't even know what drew me to this book series when I was younger, because I remember reading Time Paradox when I was a kid, but I ended up not finishing it because I had to do it for a school assignment, and we all know that when you're forced to read something you really kind of don't want to read for a school assignment, even if you choose the book, it still sucks.
Which is why you choose a random book.
If I had chosen a random book, I never would have finished that assignment. I bullshitted my way through that assignment.
I mean, English class is like the one that you can always bullshit through, so.
So, yeah. Because both of these are only one page, I'm just going to quickly talk about them. Oliver Twist. Have you read Oliver Twist? Have you read any Dickens?
I have Once Upon a Time.
I remember liking Tale of Two Cities. That we read for school, but we read that as a class, and also that English teacher was significantly better at picking books for us to read. I didn't really care for Oliver Twist. I got kind of bored because it didn't feel like the story was starting. Oliver's an orphan, and he moves around a lot, kind of shy, thievery. I didn't finish the book. I gave the book to my mom. Also, random question, why have we stopped writing in long extended sentences? If they're grammatically correct, what's the problem? Like, they convey flow and emotion really well.
Make Ulysses Grant.
Make a whole paragraph a sentence. A single sentence. And also,
What did Ulysses Grant do? He
fought in the war and was very drunk and also president. He fought in the Civil War. He was also a drunkard.
No. I think I'm thinking of probably like a different name, but dude wrote Dubliners, and
dude wrote what?
Oh boy, the book called Dubliners, which we had to read for IB English, and one of his books was either 1.5 pages or 2.5 pages was one single sentence.
That's amazing. I don't know very much about Civil War generals and their history. I can only really tell you about Stonewall Jackson because, of course, I can. But I think Ulysses S. Grant might have been too drunk to write a book. Too drunk and a little busy trying to run the Civil War.
Oh,
and
no. James Joyce, who wrote Ulysses.
Ah, that's what it was.
Ulysses was the name of the book, and that one was like page and a half of one sentence.
That's amazing. The other book, The Dragon's Blade, The Last Guardian, I should have stopped while I was ahead with the first book, because, man, there are no dragons. There's another person, the Champion's Blade owner, and he tries to fight Rektar alone, and now Rektar has his body and the sword, so that's fun. Okay. Because I made the comparison to A Song of Fire and Ice, because every time there's a book that has multiple perspectives from different characters, I always make the comparison to A Song of Ice and Fire, because that's the only comparison that I have. By the way, the reason I keep correcting myself when I say the title of that book series is because A Song of Fire and Fire and Ice, I believe, is a Robert Frost poem. A Song of Ice and Fire is the Game of Thrones book series title. The show is Game of Thrones. The books are A Song of Ice and Fire. Not a lot of fire. A lot of ice, though. I can't explain why I like Ice and Fire, despite the fact that I am about to contradict that reality. I believe that there is a point where there are too many fucking characters in fantasy, like their perspectives. And I say that with the understanding that there are like seven main characters in Ice and Fire, and then like 4 and 5 that rotate throughout each book. Fuck it, let's do it. Dany, Sansa, Arya, Jon, Eddard, Catelyn. I think Robb gets one for a second. Cersei, Tyrion, Jaime, Brienne, Podrick. That's 12 main characters, and then there are miscellaneous ones that float around them, like the Queen of Dorne. They don't really have a queen. The Queen of Dorne, she gets 1, 2, like, so does Theon, that's 14, and I think Yara also gets 1, that's 15. Like, there are a lot. Bran has 1 too, like so that's 16. Huh?
I lost track about half a minute ago. I don't know how you do this to yourself or your story.
Oh, you know how I do this to myself? Because after book 1, I decided that I cared about Sansa, Dany, and Jon. And Jaime. I don't give a shit about anybody else. Sometimes I read Arya's. Sometimes I read Tyrion's. That's about 6 out of 16. And even then, with Tyrion and Arya, it depends. Also, Eddard and Cat and Robb, if he has one, I don't believe he does, but just in case he does, all 3 of them are dead. So we lose and gain perspectives all the time. That's why when you read A Song of Ice and Fire, do not get attached, because it's worse than the show. Do not get attached. Dany deadass isn't even in book 4. Like, she's there, but she's not there. Technically, neither are Sansa or Arya. Yeah. But in Dragon's Blade, like, it started as kind of like big action, and then there's a lot of walking and stuff, which kind of reminded me of Lord of the Rings, which is not a good thing because those books are a tough sell. The movies are great. Those books are a tough sell. Like, adventure fantasy might not be my thing. I like fantasy. Adventure fantasy is... Ugh. Darenir dies at the end of this book, which is, I guess that's supposed to make sense. Something about self-sacrifice. Something, sacrifice, something. We end where we started, because he also dies in the beginning of the first book. A Song of Ice and Fire also does have too many characters, but I guess for some reason it feels more consistent. Like, the tone feels consistent, and I'm invested enough to know who I can ship, like, without it violating any of my morals. And yes, I did ship Dan and Jon, and I don't care what anybody says about them being aunt and uncle. In that series, it makes sense. Also, they weren't raised together. Also, they're the same age. Like, who's the fuck is Bran? That lifeless shell of a boy? Like, oh my god. Oh, I did not like Bran. Why is he king at the end of the show? That's a rant for another day. My Game of Thrones rant will be probably another video if I decide to make it.